Online leads suck. Real estate agencies are just a big giant scam. Facebook and Instagram leads are too expensive to be worth it. I've heard every single reason under the sun as to why online leads are not a good idea for real estate agents. However, there is some legitimacy to these online leads and they do work. The only question is, do they work for you? Because obviously they work for some people and there is a way to be very, very successful with online leads. However, too often people jump into online lead generation before they're actually ready to. So in this video, we're going to talk about, do online leads actually work? And if they do work, are they a good idea for you and your business? Hey, my name is Oliver Bohr. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, click that little bell icon so that you get notified whenever more videos come out. When it comes to online leads, there's really four considerations. Number one, how much does it actually cost per lead that comes in? Number two is, how much does it cost per conversion, or how many of these leads can you reasonably expect to convert? How long does it take to convert these leads? So not only how expensive is it, but how much time is required to actually convert these leads into transactions? And finally, once we've brought all of those factors together, how do we know, or do we know at all, if online leads are right for you? And I'm going to break it down one by one. The first consideration is, how much does it actually cost per lead? Well, this depends on the campaign. If you're running a seller campaign to try to generate listings, that's going to be a lot more expensive than running a buyer campaign. But there's great news. You can still run a buyer campaign and generate sellers from there. And the way you do that is by, when somebody actually clicks on your ad, ask them if they own a home. Not always will they answer correctly, but about 40% of the people that say that they do own a home will actually own a home. So that's a great way to actually generate sellers as well as buyers. But now here's the rub. How much are you actually paying per lead? And remember, not all of these leads are high quality. All we're going to be talking about right now is just a name and a number and an email address that comes through. That's what we're calling a lead. So typically speaking, if you're running a buyer campaign with the median house price list ad, you're going to be spending about $5 per lead. It could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. But generally speaking, if you're running about $4 to $5 per lead, you're doing okay. So obviously, if you want to generate 100 leads from this, you're going to be paying about $500. That sounds really exciting, because with 100 leads in your database, assuming you're pretty good at follow-up and sales, you can really convert a high percentage of them, right? Well, not necessarily. A lot of these leads that actually come in require a lot of follow-up, a lot of touch points before they actually turn into anything. So not only will they require a lot of touch points, but a lot of these leads won't even answer the phone. So let's get into the next stage of it. Is, once we've paid $5 per lead, let's say $500 per month to generate 100 leads, how many of those leads can I reasonably expect to convert? So full transparency, the numbers I'm about to share with you right now are industry averages from Realtor.com. So these numbers will differ depending on the market, depending on the time of the year, obviously, as well. However, as a general rule, these are typically good numbers to go by. Of all of those 100 leads that come in, only about 10 to 20% of them will actually be worth a conversation, will be qualified enough that they have, let's say, the credit score, and that they're in a place in their life to actually be worth a conversation to purchase a home, let's say employed, whatever that is, whatever that qualification looks like. Only about 10 to 20% of these people are actually going to be worth a conversation. Now, let's say you manage to book an appointment with every single one of those qualified leads, right? They are in a position, they have the money, they have the credit score, and they're interested in a conversation. Let's say there's 15 people that do that. Only about 10 to 20% of those people are actually going to convert, right? So let's say if I'm running a Facebook ad and I'm generating 100 leads, let's say 10 people will actually book an appointment with me. And of those 10 people that book an appointment, 1 to 2 transactions will actually close. But again, looking at this strictly from the numbers, it seems like running online lead generation would be a great idea. I generate 100 leads for $500. I get 2 transactions out of that and I'm good to go, right? Well, not necessarily. Let's look at the next stage of it. How do you actually convert these leads? Now, typically speaking, you'll need between 8 to 12 touch points for each lead before somebody actually answers the phone, which means that just looking at 1 month, if you're trying to generate transactions just from 1 month of lead generation, how many phone calls are you going to have to make to have a conversation with each of these 100 leads? Again, remember that on average, leads will need approximately 8 to 12 touch points before they actually convert. That's a lot of conversations. That's a lot of phone calls with people who are, generally speaking, trying to make your life difficult and don't really want to talk to you, even though they've actually clicked on your ad. However, if there's money at the end of the tunnel, surely it makes sense. Well, let's dig a little bit deeper into this. Let's say I make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of phone calls and I really keep on following up with every single lead that comes in. And by the end of this month, I'm able to make 15 appointments from the 100 leads that actually came in. There's a lot of time that you've actually spent on these leads, and there's a lot of energy, which, by the way, maybe you could have been using that energy to call for sale by owners and expireds and landlords, which, by the way, is a consideration. These leads are either extremely cheap or free entirely. But let's say nonetheless you manage to generate about 10 to 15 appointments from these 100 leads. What happens next? So let's say of these 10 appointments, 4 people are interested in buying a home with you, right? Because we ran a buyer's ad originally. So typically speaking, these leads are going to be buyers. So 4 of these 10 appointments that you made are actually interested in going to look at homes. So of these 4 buyers, remember, you're not getting them as a referral from a friend. So there's a lot of pre-vetting maybe that still has to be done as the conversations go on on. So the buyer cycle, typically speaking, could be a lot longer than, let's say, a referral, because these people are at the point that they're ready to go. An online lead maybe is not necessarily ready to go. They don't know you, so they're happy just going around looking at homes and almost wasting your time, right? Still definitely worth the time involved. However, recognize that there is a heavy time investment to actually take care of these leads. But nonetheless, so you go around with these 4 buyers and let's say 2 of them entirely back out. So now you're left with 2 transactions to be made. Again, still, it took a lot of time, but you only paid $500 for these transactions, right? Remember, in real estate, the buyer cycle is long enough already. However, with online leads, the buyer cycle is a little bit longer because they don't know you, right? So they may start interviewing other people. It's not a given that they're actually going to be working with you, even if you've actually taken them around. And they don't have that level of responsibility and commitment to you because they just met you from a Facebook ad. So let's recap. If I can put $500 a month into an ad, I can reasonably expect, if I'm running my ad efficiently, to generate 100 leads from that ad. Of those 100 leads, I may be able to get 10 to 15 qualified appointments from them, only if I'm willing to call each of these leads between 8 to 12 times before I actually get them onto a phone. One more consideration there is that when a lead comes in, they're about 4 times more likely to convert or to answer the phone if you call them within the first 5 minutes. So not only is there a heavy time commitment, but you need to call them instantly to actually get them on the phone. So now you've called every single one of these 100 leads within 5 minutes. You've called each one of them, let's say 8 to 12 times. You've got them on the phone. And through all of your hard work and time and energy, and $500 later, you're able to get 10 appointments. Now, of those 10 appointments, you're able to show 4 people homes around the areas. And of those 4 people that are actually showing homes, 2 people actually end up purchasing a home with you at some point in time. Remember, the buyer cycle could take 6 to 12 months, honestly, in real estate, especially for buyers in this market. So now that we understand the money and time and energy that goes into actually generating the leads, the question is, are they actually right for you? Generally speaking, I recommend that real estate agents actually purchase online leads at this point. Number one, they've exhausted all of their organic strategies that actually work for them. If somebody absolutely hates cold calling, then go ahead and start building strategic relationships. Go to retirement residences and start building partnerships with them as well. I'm going to link to another video where I talk about a whole bunch of free lead generation strategies. But once you've exhausted all of your free lead generation strategies and it's working for you and that's more consistent, that doesn't absolutely drain your energy, then it's a good time to purchase leads. Similarly, let's say you have people working underneath you. Buying online leads is good for 2 reasons. Number one, it actually gives the agents underneath you something to go at. But also number 2 is it's a great carrot to dangle in front of them to say, if you want to come over to my team, I'm going to purchase these leads, and you're always going to have business to go at. You're always going to have a full database. But let's say you're an agent that hasn't exhausted all of their organic lead generation strategies, right? They haven't cold called, they haven't reached out to assisted living communities, they haven't ran webinars, they haven't run seminars, they haven't built these strategic partnerships, they haven't run open houses for other agents. Let's say if you're an agent that hasn't done all of these organic lead generation strategies for a sufficient amount of time, I would say between 3 to 6 months at the very, very least, then generally speaking, it is not a good time to purchase leads. And typically agents that do so when they haven't exhausted all of these options are doing this more from a point of desperation because they just need something to happen in their business. And typically speaking, decisions that are made from a point of desperation are not going to be the correct decisions. So while I'm not vehemently against online leads, and I do believe that they have their time and their place, I do believe it's very important to understand that if you are going to get into online lead generation, first off, really dissect and analyze, is it the right thing for me right now in my current predicament? And once you do realize that it is the right time, once you have decided that it is the right time and place for you to run these online leads, just understand the amount of money, time, and energy and effort involved into actually turning these leads who are total strangers to you into qualified buyers or sellers and then eventually transacting with them. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon to get notified when more videos come out. See you in the next video.